Hello, and welcome back to Let's Play Ultima 6, The False Prophet. In our last episode, the Avatar had acquired a ship, and we were on our way south to find the island town of Jhelom, the town of Valor. Valor being the virtue based directly on the principle of courage. Now, as I mentioned, Jhelum is an island town, meaning we need to sail our way on the ship. Those of you who owned Ultima 6 and still have their cloth maps can follow our our path on those maps. Otherwise, if you have access to Google, you can just Google Ultima 6 map, and you can do the same. We're making our way southwards out of Brittany Bay, and going to follow the coastline, due south past the town of Pause, then again past the town of Trinsic, eventually turning west and making our way to the island town of Jhelum. Now, for those of you who are familiar with maritime history or sailing, you may know, of course, that in the olden days, back before they had things like GPS and satellite navigation, sailors used to have to use other tools to find their way. And in fact, they still do. They still use some of these tools, the compass, the sextant, and such, in order to find where they are in the world and not get lost. Find their latitude, their longitude, how far from shore they are. Well, in Ultima 6 is no different. There is an item we can buy. Unfortunately, it's not quite available yet, called a sextant, and it allows you to determine your latitude and longitude. This pier here is the town of Pause. We're about halfway down the coast. Like I said, a little bit later in the game, we're going to get ourselves one of those sextants, but for now, we have to find our way by finding landmarks. We have to see we're passing Pause and then go from there. Oh my, it looks like a shipwreck. I'm going to take a brief moment here. Let's look at that thing sitting there. Thou dost see rotworms. That's a monster there in the swampland. Now, those things would be very dangerous to us. However, we're in a ship. Ships have cannons. Unfortunately, these trees are in the way. Let's go down here and try again. There we go. Rotworms killed. Let's see if this ship has anything in it. Maybe it has, hidden booty. Well, unfortunately it doesn't, but it was worth a shot. Anyway, let's go back to our ship. Like I said, eventually we're going to be getting ourselves a sextant, so it'll make it a lot easier. The Ultima 6 map also works on, just like our real-world map, has a coordinate system centered on Castle British, Lord British's castle. That's 0-0. So since we're to the south, far south, and a little bit to the east of Lord British's castle, we might say that we're at about 40 degrees south and 10 degrees east. And knowing that, looking at our map, we could figure out exactly where we are and where we're going. But that'll come in a future episode once we get one of those sextants. Now, in previous Ultimas, you might have seen we used our cannons to destroy a monster there. In previous Ultimas, basically any Ultima where you had a ship, yes, you were allowed to use ship's cannons to fight enemies. However, if you got close to enemies and closed with them, game would switch modes and allow you to get into a close combat where you're actually boarding an enemy ship or they're trying to board yours and you have to fight them off. That doesn't happen in this game. In this game, when someone's attacking your ship simply takes damage. If your ship runs out of hit points, just like with a person, it's dead. And you'll find yourself with the Avatar and his party floating on a rowboat in the middle of the ocean. But there is a solution to that. First off, don't get hit. But if you do get hit, just like with regular hit points, you can rest and restore your hit points. In this case, you're resting and repairing the ship. Not while foes are near. Hang on, let's get away from the town here. The game seems to think that there's enemies nearby. As you can see, when I rest, it says hull strength 100%. If the ship was damaged, I could rest and my crew basically would be repairing the ship while we rest. I noticed, though, looks like there's another shipwreck over here. Let's check it out. All ashore who's going ashore. Well, it doesn't look like there's anything for us to find here, but it's worth a look. Alright, so let's continue our way back. Now, if you'll notice, before we sidetracked here, yep, I found a little dock here. Those of you who may remember this is the town of Trinsic. We were here before. I'm stopping here very briefly because I forgot to do something in our last episode. When I was selling off all of our weapons and extra weapons and armor, I forgot that Dupre was actually holding 2 swords. And I forgot to sell the extra one. There we go. A little bit of extra gold for us along our way. I'm going to quickly move about 50 of the coins to the avatar, just in case we need to give gold to anybody along the way or pay for anything, like a room at an inn. Alright, let's continue our journey. So heading south from the town of Trinsic, we're going to be following the coastline. Eventually the continent ends, and it breaks up into a series of islands, and these islands go down into the southeast. Eventually they go to a castle, a fortress known as Serpent's Hold. If you remember from a previous episode, we made our way to Empathabi, the stronghold of the Principle of Love. Serpent's Hold is the stronghold of the Principle of Courage. Again, it was one of the 3 castles that stood against Lord Blackthorn during his tyranny. We're not going to go there today, not just yet, but we are going to go to a related town. Like I said, the virtue of Valor is directly derived from the Principle of Courage, and as such, we're going to be going to the town based on that virtue. Jhelom. We're almost clear of the continent here. We're actually very close to where the Shrine of Honor is, which we freed in a previous episode. Now, unfortunately, we're sailing a bit blind here. For all we know, we could be a little bit too far to the north or too far to the south, and we could pass the islands entirely, but hopefully we're well enough on course that we'll make it. We're looking to sail to what are known as the Valorian Isles. There's 3 islands, and the southernmost has the Shrine of Valor on it, and then to the north of that is the island with the town on it. I believe, just slightly to the north here, is the island we're looking for. And there we are. There is the dock. We were successful. The party congratulates the Avatar on his excellent navigation skills. But, being the Avatar, he is very humble about that. Let's see who we meet here. You see a tall, muscled man with a wide grin. "Hello," he says, lumbering over to you and extending a large hand. "What can I do for you?" "Well, what's your name, sir?" "Pier." "Pier?" "My father was a sailor, but couldn't spell." He laughs out loud. He was a sailor, and his father before him. What's your job, sir?" "I sell ships and skiffs." "Oh, okay, so he's the shipwright for this town. Fortunately, we have a ship already, but if we had need of one, if we were trapped on this island, we could speak to him and get off the island." "Nice to meet you." "So long, friend." He lumbers back to his work. So welcome to the town of Jhelom. This is the town based on the virtue of Valor. And as night's beginning to fall, let's head north here. There's a little tavern. And this is a little ominous. It looks like there's weapons everywhere. "Please leave your weapons on the table." Well, we're not going to do that, but let's go see... oh, looks like quite a crowd. Let's talk to this gentleman first. You see a man dressed in velvets and silks of yellow, green, and blue. His voice is rich and mellow. "How do you do? I am the bard Van Kellion. Please speak your name, my lord." "I am attentive." "A pleasure to be sure, attentive. What's your job, Van Kellion?" "Why, singing is my trade. Songs to soothe the soul and refresh the mind. Shall I sing for ye?" Iolo rolls his eyes and whispers to you. "He believes he does us a favor. This I must hear." "Well, how about a song?" "Why not?" The bard plays a harp and sings. "Though she disdains to speak to me, ah, how I pine and sigh for her. I would that I were handsome, oh, sing ho, yo, he hum." So he mentioned songs. To such a topsy-turvy world, when my sweet lady love rolls by, I would that I could catch her eye, sing ho-yo he hum. Um, let's see if this gentleman knows anything about. We're here to free the shrine, so let's see if he knows anything about the rune or the mantra. Did you know that the mantra of pride is mull? A beggar told me that. Hmm, a beggar. There is little enough dignity in the life of a beggar. I gave him a few coins, of course. Hmm, does he know anything about the rune? No, I cannot help you with that. Nice to meet you, sir. Good evening and farewell. Looks like there's some sort of fighter up here. You see an angry looking man, wearing short swords on either hip. Good evening. Good evening, Stelnar. Shamino and Stelnar shake hands. Attentive, this is Stelnar Starhelm. Pleased to meet you, my lord, Attentive. So you said your name was Stelnar. I am called Starhelm. And you know Shamino. Shamino and I traveled the Spirit Wood together for a time. And what is your job, sir? I am a monster slayer. Monsters? I hate all monsters. They are a blight on the face of Britannia. For the past year I've been killing wisps and the like in Spiritwood. Wisps? Wisps are nasty flickers, very hard to kill. Not like gargoyles now. We've fought gargoyles. I wouldn't say they're necessarily easy. There's one that they call Sinvral. If I had my way, that gargoyle would be a statue. Now, those of you who've played Ultima 5 will remember Sinvral well. He was actually in the previous game depicted as a daemon, a red-skinned daemon, which is normally an evil creature. But while Lord British was imprisoned in the underworld, he met Lord British, and Lord British converted him to the cause of good. Sinvral actually helps you out by giving you needed information on your quest. Um, at this point, we were not aware of Sinvral being a gargoyle, and you wonder if that's the same person. Let's see. He's a vicious daemon. Looks like it may be the same person. Yes, Sinvral is an evil wretch. How could Lord British imagine that a gargoyle could understand virtue? Yeah, it looks like it's the same guy that we knew. Lord British defeated Sinvral in the underworld. The gargoyle went to live in the dry land. And if you might remember from Ultima 5, yes, he lived in the middle of a desert. 'Tis a desert east of the bloody plains. There is a shrine there. I've never been to that desert, or the Shrine of Honesty. Well, that's a good hint. We now know that the Shrine of Honesty is located in the desert up in the northeast part of the continent. That's really good to know. Now, he mentioned that they turned to stone? Give me a moment here. I want to... There was something that he said that we forgot, that we didn't get to actually see. I'm going to follow the conversation chain here. Oh, sorry, a statue. He would be a statue. They turn to stone when you slay them. That's drivel, friend Starhelm, says Van Kellion. A gargoyle's a flesh and blood beast. Stone indeed. Bards. A gargoyle is an ugly monster, and that's that. Ugly. Van murmurs. Ugliness is but skin deep, just as beauty is. Gargoyle skin is very thick and deep, as everyone knows. Well, I can say from experience right now that gargoyles don't turn to statues, but I'll leave you to it, sir. Farewell, Attentive. Now, Van Kellion seemed to know a little bit about this. Let's ask him about this. A very good evening to you, my friend. Tell us about Starhelm. Starhelm and I have oft debated the nature of the gargoyle, Sinvral. If Lord British suffers him to live, then I will not harm him. What possible threat could one gargoyle living alone in the dry lands be? Stelnar says, I'll tell ye, Van. If you let one gargoyle live, then you'll be tempted to spare trolls. and then even cyclopses. And then ye forget Valor, and soon ye are overrun by monsters. So about the gargoyles? Well, I hear their skin is stony and rough. Their cries are fierce yowlings to make the blood run cold with fear. Though, mind ye, I have never faced one in combat. You guys are talking a lot about valor. Valor comes from the courage to be virtuous, just as compassion comes from a love of all mankind. Aha! That means monsters are not deserving of mercy, says Stelnar. Courage grows. Why not love? Well, some interesting and perhaps contradictory thoughts on the virtues there, but we'll be on our way. You see a girl of perhaps 12 years. She's agile and balances trays of mugs deftly on each hand. Hello, my lord. Welcome to the Sword and Keg. And what's your name? It's Lysandra, but ye can call me Andy. Andy. I know 'tis a boy's name, but I like it all the same. And you said, welcome to the Sword and Keg. Sometimes 'tis rough here, but I doesn't mind. Someday I'll be a fighter, you know. That's exciting. Planning on being a fighter, you say. The fighting here usually begins over... Her voice drops to a whisper. The rat! Around sunset, things get really rowdy here. The rat? Shh! She glances about to see if you've been overheard. See yon hole in the north wall? Look carefully at where the floor and the wall meet. That's where it took the rune. They tried all manner of tricks to get it out, but they all failed. I had an idea, but nobody listened to me. Idea? Do you know of the talking mouse, Lord British's friend? Well, actually, she's in our party. A mouse could get the rune of that, I'm sure. So, wait, you said the rune? I know how to get it from the you-know-what. The rat, she whispers conspiratorially to you. So, I think she's trying to say that a rat carried off the rune. Does she mean the rune of Valor? Do you know the mantra? Cullum is off-sung of it, and Jarus with Starhelm, with Jarus and Starhelm. Okay, well maybe Starhelm knows it, or we'd have to find out who Jarus is. Bye-bye, my lord. It was nice talking to you. Do you know the mantra, sir? I cannot help you with that. We're gonna have to find this Culham person. Let's talk to some more of these folks and see what's going on here. You see a beggar clad in the rags of a sailor, with a hook for a right hand. Spare a doubloon for an old sea hand. He holds out his hand. Do you give him any money? Sure, we'll go ahead and give him a gold coin. Thank ye kindly, matey. And what is your name, sir? I be Heftimus McPry, matey. And what is your job, Heftimus? Once Buccaneer's den quaked at the mention of me name. I was the greatest saber fighter on all the high seas. Then, one day, I fought Captain Hawkins, that scurvy dog, and he struck off me hand with his sword. Captain Hawkins, you say? He be long gone now, he and his ship, the Empire. A pox on his memory. If you might remember from a previous episode, we learned about the Empire from a song sung by a bard. He cut off your hand, you say, though? 'Twas a bitter fight. I almost died of the wound. Hawkins threw me hand to the sharks. Well, he sounded like a pleasant fellow. You said you were at Buccaneer's Den. That be an island, matey, and no place for a decent soul like yourself. I guess not. Let's see if this gentleman knows anything of the mantra. Sorry, don't really know that. And the rune? He doesn't know anything about the rune either. Well, we'll be on our way then. Good journey. You see a small man in a handsome vest made of seashells. Why, hello there, my lord, and who might you be? I'm Attentive. Well met, my lord Attentive. Let me tell you a tale. Well, before we do that, what's your name, sir? Culham's me name, my lord. Ah, the gentleman who knows of the mantra. Well, let's listen to his tale first. Would you really like to hear a story? Definitely. I call this story Arturosis. Two gypsies come to Trinsic, hungry as usual. One goes out and gathers a poisonous weed from the swamps. The other sneaks into town and puts the plant into the trough of a horse. Well, poor horse doesn't know better. He eats the stuff, swells up, and takes ill. The owner, Emmanuel, doesn't know what to do. Along come the gypsies. Aye, they cry. Yonder nag hath contracted archerosis. Unless it be immediately removed, the rest shall catch the same fatal disease. Emmanuel decides to sacrifice the diseased one, and the gypsies agree heartily. For but a few coins, say the gypsies, we will lead it away and bury it far from here. Emmanuel is too happy to hand them the doomed animal's bridle plus 10 coins. So the gypsies make a great kettle of horse stew and bury the rest. A great feast is held amongst gypsy kind. Meanwhile, Emmanuel thanks virtue that the equine epidemic was caught early on. 'Tis a true story, my friend. We met Emmanuel, of course, in Trinsic. She was the horse breeder. And if the disease is called archerosis, I think it may have something to do with that gypsy we met named Arturos. Yep, seems like a true story, all right. So what's your job, Jhelom? When spirits be low, I play tunes to bring cheer. Spirits, you say? Once I heard a haunting melody. In old Magentia, he laughs. Magentia? Well, it used to be a ghost town. He laughs and plays a little tune on his lute. And again, those of you who played Ultima 4 would remember Magentia was a town of pride that was destroyed. Demons rose up and consumed the inhabitants, leaving only one person left, the most humble person in the town named Katrina. We'll be meeting her later in the game. The town of New Magentia was built on its ruins. So we were told you know the mantra. The mantra of valor bringeth great cheer. I'm not a great singer, but I love to play a song of valor. It makes me sing. Well, let's go ahead and... Would you like to sing for us? I'll sing, though I'd rather play. The pub is filled with the sound of singing. It seemed like such an easy climb. I crawled upon the serpent's spine. It hadn't even time to blanch when down there came an avalanche. And then my mantra came to mind. Though boulders bounced and passed with speed, my frozen fingers gripped to rock as sliding snow swept loose my feet. Sing Ra, my friends, sing Ra. 'Tis a song to make thee strong. When the mountains be high, for the ground be far. Sing Ra, my friends, sing Ra. So I'm guessing Ra must be the the mantra of valor. He doesn't respond to that, of course. Does he know anything about the rune? Ah, yes, that's quite a story, too. Naughty no man dropped the rune of valor, and the rat carried it off. He laughs loudly. Too loudly, Stellar and Jarrus begin to argue over whether it was a rat or a mouse. Once again, a brawl breaks out. Oh, and everyone's fighting now with each other. Let's see if we can talk to anybody. You see a slender man with boots that come up to his thighs. Don't you know it's rude to interrupt a man when he's brawling? You see a blonde man with broad shoulders and a stern, unsmiling face. Can't you see there's a lovely brawl going on? Talk to me tomorrow. And now we see why people are asked to leave their weapons outside, because this is a lively town. Let's get out of here really quickly before we get caught up in this brawl. However, we seem to know where the rune is. It seems to be in that tavern. Let's very quickly stop here at this inn. Let night pass, and we'll go ahead and, Well, hello there, my friends. Welcome to the warrior's stead. What can I be doing for thee this evening? My name is Martin, but my friends call me Dutch. Ja, that's my name. And I run this inn. We're going to go ahead and stop for the night. That way, hopefully, people will be done with their brawl. We get a nice, huge, tasty breakfast. A good breakfast is the beginning of a good day, he cries. Have a good journey, he calls as you leave. Alright, now that night's fallen and morning's come, we should be able to go ahead and speak to folks again. Ah, and here's the gentleman that we weren't able to speak to last night. You see a slender man with boots that come up to his thighs. Hello there, my lord. Jarrus is my name, and yourself? I'm attentive. Pleased to make your acquaintance. If you remember, Jarrus is one of the other people that was spoke of who sings with call him. What's your job, Jarrus? Someday I hope to join Zelavin's stalwarts and be a guard. Zelivin, you say? When that last earthquake struck, I was pinned neath the great tree branch. Lord Zelivin himself hoisted it up while a guard pulled me clear. Interesting. So, let's talk about that rune. It's right there on the north wall. See it? I'm assuming if we were in the tavern, we'll say yes. Obviously a rat hole. It was a rat, as sure as the world is flat. Darndest thing, too. No man dropped the rune, and the rat took it into the little hole. It's right there on the north wall. See it? Yeah. All right. And let's see if he can confirm the mantra for us. It's in the refrain of the song. Well, I'd rather not sing alone. Get Jhelom to play it. That pretty much confirms for us the mantra is Ra, and we know where the rune is. So let's go ahead and let's see if we can go ahead and get that. Goodbye. Looks like the tavern's empty right now, and there's the hole where supposedly somebody dropped the Rune of Valor and it was carried in there by a mouse or rat. Now, we can't get in there. We can just see a hole and we can't get past it. Fortunately, we have somebody in our party who's small enough. But look at this. There's an invisibility ring, some more cheese, and the Rune of Valor. And Sherry takes everything that's there. Well, that was almost a little too easy. We're going to go ahead and quickly move the invisibility ring back to the avatar, and the same thing with the Rune of Valor. But we'll let Sherry keep her cheese, as a reward for a job well done. We'll go ahead and move the rune into the quest bag. Excellent. We're pretty much ready to go ahead and try to free that Shrine of Valor, but really quickly, I'd like to see if there's anybody else we can speak with. We haven't spoken with that merchant. We spoke with Lysandra. Here's where the Moonstone would be, if it weren't captured by the gargoyles, of course. There's another pier. Looks like this is where the mayor lives. Oh, and looks like he's woken up. Let's speak with him real quickly. You see a man with a serpent and heart tabard covering his chainmail. I welcome thee to Jhelom. I am Zelavan, and I am lord here. Pray tell me thy name. I'm attentive. Ah, the Avatar! Lord British has spoken fondly of thee, my lord. Please feel at home in this town. Thank you, sir. You know Lord British, of course. I grew up near Castle Britannia. 'Twas the sunset o'er Brittany Bay, and the ships at rest in the harbour which drew me away to the sea. I'm sure that's an exciting tale. What's your job around here? The valorous are often boisterous. I watch over the fighters. We saw that last night in the pub. Here in Jhelum we delight in the clash of arms and the din of battle. Speak to no man if thou hast need of arms. Ah, battle, he sighs. For a time he reminisces with you, trading stories about past exploits. So you gotta tell us about this pub. If thou hast tales of swordsmanship, then the Sword and Keg is the place for thee. 'Tis on the north side of town. Yes, we've been there. Now, we were talking with that other gentleman who mentioned that Lord Zellivan saved him after the earthquake. Let's ask if he knows anything about that. Only an earthquake could make Jhelum tremble, I dare say. We had one just last year. The piers were broken up, but the shipwrights repaired them swiftly. The shipwrights. The shipwrights of Jehlum are fastidious and frugal craftsmen. All right. Now we've already gotten the information, but we've got to ask him about the rune. I held a tournament to decide who would be entrusted with the rune's care. You might say that no man was the victor. He smiles. Obviously, we know who that was. Ask him yourself. And the mantra? Hear it for thyself at the Sword and Keg pub, my lord. The songs and tales do the heart good, I say. Those who live the warrior's life like to sing, and regale one another with fanciful accounts of their exploits. And we know that well. Alright, well, it's nice to meet you. Farewell, my friend. If we go down this way... Ah, this looks like an armory of some sort. Ah, must be an armorer. You see a blond man with broad shoulders and a stern, unsmiling face. I am no man. What is thy name, my lord? Ah, this is no man. I am attentive. He bows stiffly. Well met, my lord. And your job, no man? I run the armory, buying and selling weapons. Well, while we're here, let's see if he's willing to buy anything from us. Aye, Yolo has something of interest. Well, we don't want to sell our crossbow, and we don't really want to sell our oil flasks right now, so no thank you. Changed your mind, eh? Let's see what he's willing to sell us. Let's see what kind of ammunition he sells. Arrows or bolts. That's good to know for the future. And what about armaments? Bows, clubs, crossbows, daggers, oil flasks, spears, and spiked shields. Nothing we need right now, but again, we'll keep in mind where he is for the future. Now, this was the guy who had the rune. I won a rune in a tournament once. 'Tis gone now, though, and there's a fine tale about it. I remember it as if it were yesterday. Zellivan held a tourney, and I was awarded the rune of Valor. Afterwards, we were at the pub, celebrating. I had drunk a full quart of ale, so my grip was a bit unsteady. I was showing the rune around when it fell from my grasp onto the floor. That's when the rat ran out. A rat? It scampered over, seized the trinket, and ran back across the floor. We all leapt at it, but the little beast was too quick. It was in the hole before anybody could stop it. It ran into a hole in the west wall of the pub, carrying the rune. We tried everything, banging on the wall, digging, poking with a sword. To no avail, though. We haven't seen the rune since. Well, luckily we've already recovered it, and we're going to take it on our way with us. Now, one of the other people referred to him as Naughty No Man. Let's see if he responds to that. 'Tis just a nickname, of course. You see a hint of a smile on his face. At least he's good-natured sort of gentleman. And, of course, we'll confirm the mantra, go ask around in the tavern. All right, well, that's about all I think we have to say about this gentleman. A fine morning to you, my lord. So, having found the rune and found the mantra of Valor, I think we're ready to go ahead and try to free that shrine. Let's go ahead and head north for just a second here. I'm going to show you a little trick here. The only person we haven't talked to in the town is this gentleman here who's still asleep. We could wait for him to wake up, or there's a little bit of a trick here. One of our early spells, Dispel Magic, that we use to usually cure poison, wakes people up. The man looks up from his cooking. Aye, hello there. Afraid I can't talk now. I have to cook tomorrow's lunch. Come back when it's ready and have some. Unfortunately, he wasn't willing to talk to us at this point. I guess we have to wait till he is actually where he works. So we'll quickly pass and wait until he... There we go. Now we'll follow him. Heftimus again. We'll give him another coin. We're friendly enough. And we'll let the cook get in here. Welcome to the Sword and Keg. Now we can finally speak to this gentleman. I be Arvin, mate. I sell rolls, ale, mead, wine, and rations. And that's why I wanted to speak with him. I wanted to see how much rations cost. They're 4 gold apiece. We're not going to buy any just this second, but I want to see how many we could afford. Currently we have 117 gold. I don't really want to waste it all on food right now. As I mentioned in a previous episode, not having food isn't going to kill us. But I want to keep that in mind, that they're about 4 gold apiece, and whenever we rest, we end up using 5 of them. So that's 20 gold every time we rest and heal using food. We need to keep that in mind for future reference. Alright, we're going to have to get this gentleman to move off of our boat here if we're going to get out of here. We're going to move him to the west. Move him to the south, and board our ship. Alright, this is it, the battle. Now again, those of you with the map will know that just due south of the town is another island, and on that island is the shrine. And if it's anything like previous shrines, it's going to be populated by gargoyles who are guarding the shrine. It's just on the other side of these mountains. We're going to go around from the west side and see if we can catch them unawares. Perhaps we can use the shipboard cannons to soften them up a bit. We'll see what happens. Oh, there actually is a dock here. Looks like we're going to go in on foot. The Avatar is going to go ahead and equip his halberd. And everybody else is fully equipped and ready to fight. There's the shrine. Shamano says he hears something to the east. I was about to say there was no one here, but there is a gargoyle. Begin combat. Now, as I mentioned previously, the advantage to a halberd is I can attack from a distance. And the winged gargoyle is dead. That's the advantage to the halberd. It's heavy, but when it hits, it really hits. I think that's all of them. Go ahead and form up our party here, and let's move some of these bodies so we can actually see what we're doing. This gargoyle had leather armor. Dupre will pick that up very quickly. So, excuse me. This one had a boomerang and a wooden shield. Again, Dupre will pick those up. Finally, the winged gargoyle had a two-handed sword, a bow, 15 arrows, and leather armor. That's quite a haul. Let's move out of the way here and let Dupre collect the spoils. And here's the shrine. Once again, we will use the corresponding rune, the rune of Valor, with the mantra Ra. And the shrine is freed. We'll grab the moonstone and place that into our quest bag. And now, it's time to talk to the shrine. Now, I don't know, I briefly showed you this in a previous episode, our statistics. Again, our strength, dexterity, intelligence. And I mentioned that they max out at about 30. So let's go ahead and talk to the shrine. You see the altar of Valor. As you kneel before the altar, a mystic voice sounds in your head. Thy deeds serve as an example to all. Do you wish to meditate at this altar? Yes, we're going to see if it'll allow us to level up. Attentive will meditate here and speak the mantra of Valor. Ra. Tender-handed stroke than a nettle, and it stings you for your pains. Grasp it as a man of metal, and it's soft as silk remains. There is naught else for you to learn, here and now. Return when thy journey has progressed further. And that shows us that Attentive is not quite ready to level up. As you can see, he's level 4. He's not quite ready for level 5. Next, we'll have Dupre meditate. Actually, we want to check his stats first, excuse me. Dupre has a fairly high strength. Wouldn't hurt to max it out. Same thing with Shamino, YOLO, and of course Sherry could really use more strength. I wanted to verify that nobody was quite at 30 yet. So we're going to go ahead and have Dupre meditate and speak the mantra of Valor. Once again, it repeats the advice to us, and there's nothing for him to learn. This time Shamino will meditate. There's nothing for him to learn either. Let's see if YOLO is ready for a level up. Unfortunately not. Finally, we'll see if Sherry is ready to level up. Sherry has gained a level. And strength. There is naught else for you to learn here and now. Let's try one more time to make sure Sherry can't level up again. And no, she's now maxed out. So let's see how Sherry looks. And her strength went up to 4. Now what that means for her carrying capacity is not clear. Let's see. Yeah, she can now equip up to 4 stones. So now she can have swamp boots and a helmet. And that's pretty useful. So she's a little bit better equipped. She might be a little bit more useful in the battlefield. So that was a bit of an anticlimax. Nobody was really able to level up except for our mouse friend. But other than that, that was a pretty successful journey. We've gone ahead and freed the Shrine of Valor. It's another one under our belt and another step closer to completing our quest and freeing all the shrines and defeating the Gargoyle Menace. So that's a pretty good place to stop for now. In our next episode, we're going to continue along with our ship and start visiting some other towns. We're going to make our way to the north and try to visit the town of the Mages, the town of Honesty, Moonglow. And I will see all of you next time.